Oh man.
Metric system is the CEO of not having your set fit right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if you can't do it with the metric set, just go to the standard.
Don't they make like a 17.5?
What size are you trying?
18, 17.
It's probably 18.
It is.
More than likely. All right, so Ryan broke stuff, and he's taking 100% of the blame for this because that's how things operate around here. I can talk over it. We know that for a fact. And the problem is, we got done fixing the front end, so we felt it was necessary to come back and fix the back end because we took it out and did a trial run for it, and the whole back end of this thing started getting spicy. And the mouse nest probably didn't help things. So the belt, it was a pretty good indicator that the belt was bad. Seems how we had smoke rolling. Any machine operated wrong enough for a long enough amount of time can become a smoke machine. And that's exactly what we got. So is this just a 3? I thought it was a 4. No, it is a 3, okay. Okay, so this is what the belt looks like. For those of you that are watching the channel on the regular, know that this machine has been around since it was new, or demo new. I guess the people that tried it before Grandpa bought it used it for cutting up corn stalks in the fall. Something we've never done because you know what? I feel like that's just abuse. I'd rather use the rotary cutter. Can you get it out or not?
No, I'm waiting for you to stop talking.
I don't, you're fine. So, okay, the belt is bad. Well, only about a third the way bad because we still got 2 of the belts on there that's actually still fairly good.
17 millimeter, please.
17?
Yep.
And that belt's never been changed. And what we're finding out is that the longer you run a piece of equipment, the more things tend to break on it, or fail on it, or start to fail on it. But that's just common knowledge, right? So, I'm glad that after we got done mixing feed up for Ryan's calves and setting gates up for Dad's calves, that actually came out pretty easy. I was a little surprised by that. The belt grenaded and coiled itself up and actually started to melt. No, it didn't melt around this, but it coiled up around that. And then it started to melt on this, which, part number right there, I'm pretty sure it's basically the exact same thing that's actually in the cutter bar. But this, hey, it's not wobbling now, what the hey?
It's not wobbling?
Well, you beat on it hard enough, it will. Oh yeah, see? That is starting to fail. So what we're gonna do is, I hate to say it, this whole piece is, I mean it is, it's the exact same thing that's in the cutter bar. This whole assembly will drop out, and then the only thing, I gotta take that power takeoff on the other end off, but otherwise this will drop out, and this will probably be another $400 there, plus $1 billion for the belt that Ryan destroyed because he was the last one that ran this.
Ran it till it quit.
Actually, it didn't quit. That's John Deere for you. It runs and runs and runs, and then when you go to use it again is when it quits running.
Blame it on the next guy.
Yeah, blame it on the next guy. That's how we operate around here. Something starts to fail, you hurry up and get out of the tractor, and then you tell the next guy, hey, you want to go cut hay or go chisel plow or plant or whatever else, and let them be in the seat when the equipment fails. I mean, because I took a lot of flack for that 7400 blowing up back when Grandpa first got that, because that had a factory flaw in it. The gear in the front end of it had the wrong gear installed in it, so the front tires, when the mechanical front wheel drive was actually engaged, the front tires were trying to make 2 full rotations more than what they were supposed to, so they should have, oh gosh, what is it? 1 full rotation, or 1.5 or 1 1/4 to the rotation of the back tires, and the front tires were like trying to drag the whole machine, and it blew up like 3 or 4 times. And by the 4th time, Grandpa basically told him, fix it and don't ever bring that thing back. Actually, I don't even think he told him to fix it. I think he told him to come and get it, and I'm not paying for it. And that's actually what got people's attention to get people from John Deere down, and they found out that that was the problem with it. So, a great way to end the day, right? just throw parts at it. But yeah, this is the part that was starting to melt. How did this like just fail, or I mean, was it cutting all right when you were cutting last fall? I mean, because this looks to me like this has been
the belt was still on, just a third of the belt failed.
Okay, so what you're saying is you ran it at a third of the capacity.
Well, it felt like I only had a third of the cutting capacity.
Well, what the heck? You're supposed to get out and check stuff like that.
I did.
This thing has to last for forever. And it won't last for forever, but we're gonna try. So actually checking these other, I mean, that one's all right. That one's all right. I mean, that's really all right, nice and smooth yet. This one, it's got just a little bit of play to it, so that's gonna be good for a few more years. Another decade, hopefully. I'm gotta go through and check the oil, drop the oil, and all of these, oh, the two up there, the one right here, gearboxes, plus cut right. Oh, what?
Or an 18.
Oh, you said 17. Why would you ask for a 17? We already knew it took an 18 socket. Kids these days. I mean, at least I went to school. I went to school for wrenching like this, and then you try to teach your brother so you can actually be a little bit helpful in the shed working on stuff, but no, just this generation these days, they just refuse to learn. They just keep grabbing wrenches until they find one that works. How's that one work?
It's a metric system.
It's a metric system. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, before we turn the camera on, we actually had a little discussion about the metric system, and we'll leave it at that. Well, my only problem with it is if we're gonna do the metric stuff on this newer equipment, to actually stick with it and not have some metric, some standard. I mean, if you're gonna commit to it, not bounce back and forth. What were we working on here not that long ago where it did have a bunch of standard, and yes, they were standard bolts because they had the little lines on it. It wasn't numbered. And before you get too carried away with that, and I'm gonna have to let you guys go, I just figured I'd turn the camera on and basically make fun of Ryan because I'm not helpful, because you know you're not supposed to turn the camera on and film this stuff. You're supposed to be helpful and all that stuff, huh? No, it's just what people are telling me. So, not you, other people. So we are looking at hay season, but not that close. Everything's just kind of stunted. I mean, we got that stuff out there is really starting to turn green, but we also got some seeding out there that you can see that it's coming up, but it's still not coming up strong enough yet where you can actually row it. So I'm not really sure what's going on because it's got the moisture. Well, actually my guess is exactly that. We don't have the sunlight and the heat anymore, because today is the first somewhat decent day. I mean, yesterday I had my heavy coat on yet, and I actually had a sweatshirt on earlier, but I dropped that off. And I think there's probably a bolt there. Can't feel it. Well, I know everybody on the camera can't see what I'm looking at, but what are the chances that's actually just going to drop off the back now?
Probably pretty high.
All right, why don't you go try pulling it off the back, and I'll stand here and supervise. Careful, don't fall. Man, this thing really smells. That's what's the smell of burn rubber. Careful, don't drop it. That part's...
It's all plastic.
Use the bolt head off that. That's loose. There you go. But it's still on that thing. Huh. Let go. Well, that's a new one. I'm not sure what to tell you on that. Huh. Well, get the torch and cut it off. No, that's too violent, too quick. Actually, it's kind of acting like it wants to come off. Can you get your... Yeah, it's coming. Okay, grab it. Ready? Oh, it's built like that. That's what they are on the inside too, or on the cutter bar. All right, time to set the camera down and actually go to work. I almost want to say the shaft is going to stay on. Maybe. Man, that'd be a real treat. The shaft stays, but this whole piece comes out. I don't know, whatever. Thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. Take care, take it easy, keep in touch. We have to continue to break stuff. Talk to you later, bye. All right, well, it's off. It's tore apart. It's just me now. Ryan had to go home. Something about I broke his arm or I broke his hand or something like that. But in my defense, we have another rule around here that if you're crazy enough to hold the piece of wood up for somebody to hit with a sledgehammer and not think twice about it, it's kind of your own fault. No, seriously, he had somebody showing up to pick up stuff. So, went through and got the old bearings out of it. I mean, they may have fallen down to the dirt, but you can tell they definitely got hot. This one's actually worse. It wasn't like that when I found it, but for some reason it fell apart when I hit it with a hammer. Would have thunk it. But yeah, that really got warm. Now, you did hear me say a little bit earlier, I can go through and give the parts guy that I'm probably going to go up and see it tonight this number and get me this whole piece. We actually, I used it already, crud. I've kept one of these on hand before, but I've said it too many times as it is. It's the same thing that's in the cutter bar. You can see it's offset. Depending on the rotation that the shell is spinning, depends on what direction you put it in. By the slot right here tells you where it should be. But the thing is, I went through and my original plan was, yes, new belt and just this whole new assembly, slam it in, good. The problem is money. If I can save some money doing this. The reason I say that is because these are in the cutter bar and these have gone bad. All right. When they've gone bad in the cutter bar, we've just replaced the whole assembly, this whole piece. It's a few $100, couple $100, $300, $400, $500. Yeah, I say it like it's nothing, but it really seems like that. I mean, you talk to people in regular conversations that don't farm or don't live in a business that expenses come in the thousands and not the hundreds, or even the hundreds I'm actually to the point anymore. If it's under $1,000, I think I got away pretty easy. But what I need is the bearings and this bad boy. Snap ring is still all right. I'm gonna go ahead and change the bearings out and see how well that works. It's not that terrible to actually get to, but when the ones in the cutter bar fall apart, burn up, I've actually seen them welded in there when they grenade. And I was told by the parts guy, which I put a lot of trust in my parts guy because he's also my friend from way back when, so I don't feel like he's trying to sell me parts. And he says that guys have replaced the bearings and just gone that route with these. But he says it seems like they're usually coming back in for bearings again for the same piece, or they end up just coming in and replacing them out altogether. So when I first saw that this was the same piece as the others, I automatically figured, hey, whatever, we'll just swap it out. But it's not. It's up, generally out of the dirt and crud. It obviously got hot, which I think contributed pretty well 100% to why it failed, because this was packed in really tight. Not really quite sure how to explain that. Well, actually, I'm sure it's the belt, because the belt was wrapped on the back of that pulley really well. Ryan actually took a crowbar to it and got that loose, and you can't see, never sees. Interesting. It was wrapped around this right here, tight enough that he used a crowbar to get it off. And then it was just outright melted to that piece that I just showed you. It was melted right to it. And this is all this is. It's the shaft is made right in to the power takeoff. So the yoke and all that is still a-okay. I don't feel any play. It's got a grease zerk on it, so obviously I know I greased it because I'd try to grease this machine pretty religiously. So it just didn't get cleaned up and put away and greased like it does normally in the fall, because in my defense, in all farmers' defense, last year was terrible. Last year, I'm already getting worked up thinking about it. Whew. So, new belt, new bearings. I'm hoping I can get away with this fairly reasonable. I think the belt is going to be the biggest issue for a 3-piece belt like that, and it's fairly long. I'm saying I'm gonna $100-200, maybe $170. But if it's going to last for another 12 years, 13 years, go for it. I like this machine. It's got some dings and dents and bangs and whatever else. I mean, I ran a plastic pallet through it before, not by choice, but by accident. And it's got metal fatigue. It's got stress fractures from running and vibrating loose, but I like it. We bought it really cheap off Grandpa's sale because it's not a drawbar type, it's the integral type, and people are usually trying to figure out how they're going to get them home if they have a long ways to go. So bought it cheap. I like the 3-point design. Really quick here, because this is going to be a long video as it is, because I like to talk. Getting closer and closer to doing hay, or my hay work. I really don't know if we're going to be doing much hay preservative on any Dad or Ryan's ground, because they're going to have to buy the hay preservative for themselves. But this is actually a very cheap pump. Now, I say very cheap, I say it was very cost efficient, because there were some other ones that I could get. I'm planning on getting a tote, but the thing is with the tote, it just has a banjo valve on the bottom, I thought, but the actual cap has the ring on it, the same as the 55-gallon drums for oil drums or whatever else. I could use this for cleaning out for oil drums, use your words, for oil barrels. But I went over to the local, the place where I'm going to buy the hay preservative from, and I wanted to look at their totes and make sure that I could use this style in the totes, because that way if I end up having to go buy a 55-gallon barrel to finish out the year, or if I want to go try like Harvest Tech's Green Guard, and I just don't want to pay for a full tote. If I just want to get just enough to try it, see if I like it, I can use this on different style containers. The biggest thing is I got to get the wire and the hose set up. I got to get a banjo valve so it fits or hooks up to the baler connector on the tank. But I'm going for low techie here, because with the hose here and the banjo valve for it, I want to get a longer hose and longer wires, probably about 20 feet, because I want to be able to set that container in the back of the truck or on the front of the bumper hitch trailer and go that route, so that way I can just pull up to it, run the wires to the starter or the battery on the 76, and away you go. Now, I'm not really thinking it's going to be that big of an issue, but I mean, for the rest of the year, other than probably one day, I'm going to probably have to refill in the middle of the day. But the first cut of that farm down there, I'm thinking it's probably going to take 2, possibly 3 fills to do everything, because it's insurance. Not even necessarily if the hay needs the preservative. Even just running a low rate, it's cheap insurance, so I can sleep at night knowing that my hay, my product, isn't going to degrade in quality too much, if at all, for my cattle. And if I decide to spin around and sell a bunch of it, which, let's say at this point I will be. I know I will be, unless weather does not allow me to. So there's that. there's a third thing I want to talk about, but I can't remember it. And honestly, this video is long enough that I'm losing your attention already. So thanks for watching the rest of the story. Take care, take it easy, keep in touch. I know it seems like we're turning more and more into TV shows rather than just regular video creators, but I don't really watch regular TV shows anymore. I don't even like watching Netflix. So, all right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.